Hello, let's talk about Arabic letters shapes. So, in the beginning, don't forget that in Arabic we write and read from right to left. Let's consider this is an Arabic word and each circle here is a letter. So, in general, Arabic letters are connected in words. Although there are some exceptions, as the second circle here which is not connected to the next letter, and we are talking about that later in this video. So, in Arabic we have 4 shapes for each letter due to its connections with letters. At first we have the independent shape when it has no connection at all with any letter. Then the initial shape when it has a connection with its next letter. Then the medial shape when it has connections with both the previous and the next letter. The last one is the final shape when it has a connection with its previous letter. So, considering this is a word, why is there a final shape in the middle of the word and why it's not connected to the next letter? Okay, that's because there are 6 letters that doesn't connect to their next letter. Wherever they are in the word, they only connect to their previous letter. These letters are Alif, دال ذال راء زين واو, and because they can't connect to their next letter, they can't have an initial or medial shapes, so they only have 2 shapes, the independent and the final shapes. Now let's talk about each letter separately, but here I want you to bring a paper and for each letter pause the video and write down the shapes to memorize them. You can also show me what you wrote by sending it to my Instagram. Starting with the letter Alif, it has only 2 shapes, the independent shape and the final shape. There is no initial or medial shapes because it is one of the 6 letters we have just talked about. Then we have Ba, Ta and Tha. These 3 letters are written the same way, except that Ba has a lower dot, Ta has 2 upper dots and 3 upper dots for Tha. So the independent shapes are the same, the initial shapes are the same, the medial shapes are the same, and the final shapes are the same. Jim, Ha and Kha are also written the same way, except that Jim has a lower dot, Ha has no dots, and Kha has an upper dot. So the independent, the initial, the medial, and the final shapes are all the same. The same thing for Dal and Dal. The only difference is an upper dot for Dal. And they also have only 2 shapes because they are from the 6 letters we have just mentioned. Again, the difference between Ra and Zain is the dot above Zain, and they have only 2 shapes. Also here, Sin has no dots and Shin has 3. Then Sad with no dots and Dad with an upper dot. For Ta and Dha, you can see that all shapes are similar. Then we have Ain and Ghain with an upper dot for Ghain. Fa and Qaf are similar, but the difference besides the number of dots is that the independent and the final shape of Qaf is more concave than Fa. Then we have Kaf, then Lam, then Mim, then Noon. The initial and the medial shapes of Noon are the same as Ba, Ta and Tha, regardless of dots. Then we have Ha, then we have Waw, and it has also 2 shapes. Then Ya. The initial and the medial shapes of Ya are also the same as Ba, Ta, Tha and Noon. The independent shape comes in 4 places: at the beginning of the word, in the middle, at the end, and outside the word. The initial shape comes in 2 places: at the beginning and in the middle. The medial shape comes in the middle of the word only. The final shape comes in the middle of the word and at the end. So, the independent shape comes at the beginning of the word like dal here. It is one of the letters that doesn't connect to their next letter, so it is independent. It comes also in the middle of the word like alif here, because the previous letter cannot connect with alif, and alif itself cannot connect with the next letter, so it has no connection and it is independent. Ra here has the same case for alif. The independent shape comes also at the end of the word like sin, because the previous letter cannot connect with it. By the way, did you notice that there is no connection at all in this word? Okay, the independent shape also comes outside the word. The initial shape comes at the beginning of the word, like kaf here, but ta comes in the initial shape in the middle of the word. That's because the previous letter cannot connect with it. The medial shape comes only in the middle, like the letter ta here. And here we have alif in the final shape in the middle of the word, because it cannot connect with the next letter. And this ba is in the final shape at the end of the word. Thank you for watching. Give it a like and a subscribe to help me improve the quality.